me tell you, he's the forerunner of neoclassical period. John Dryden is regarded as the forerunner of neoclassical period and the father of English criticism. John Dryden, 1631 to 1700, was an English poet, literary critic, translator, and playwright of 17th century. Okay, first official poet laureate in England. Please note it. He's the first official poet laureate, and he became poet laureate in 1668. And unofficial poet laureate is Ben Jonson. Okay, the first unofficial poet laureate in England is Ben Jonson. Yeah. So since he was a dominating figure in the 17th century, the age is also known as Age of Dryden. Yeah, the particular age from 1631 to 1700 is also known as Age of Dryden. Sir Walter Scott called Sir Walter Scott. You know him, Sir Walter Scott. Sir Walter Scott is the father of historical novel, and he called John Dryden Glorious John. Then Dr. Samuel Johnson called him father of English criticism, because he was the first one to teach the people how to determine the quality of a work upon using certain principles. Okay, that is why he's known as the father of criticism, first critic. Now, and apart from that, he paid attention to all forms of literary forms, not only poetry but also essay, short story, drama, like that. But his greatest achievement lies in satiric verses. Now, this person became more famous by translating the great works of Horace, Juvenal, Ovid, and Lucretius and Theocritus. Okay, translation works of Virgil is the famous among them. Now, this person is an opportunist. This person was an opportunist. He was politically influenced by, like Oliver Cromwell, Charles II. Okay, so Dryden served as a secretary for Oliver Cromwell. He made radical shift in political views. I told you it's period 17th century witnessed many political changes. Yeah, people and the writers of 17th century, they have lived through the reign of five kings. Yes. So after the death of Charles Fest, who came into the throne? Oliver Cromwell came into the throne. So this person started to serve Oliver Cromwell. When he died, who came into the throne? Charles II. Restoration of Charles II. He started serving Charles II. Then when Charles II died, James II came in throne. Like that, he served. Actually, he changed. Has the kingship changed? I mean, his views changed. Has the kingship changed? His first poem, his first important poem, that is heroic stanza. Actually, it is written so has to praise the Oliver Cromwell. Then Oliver Cromwell is a Puritan king. Okay. Now in 1660, Dryden celebrated again the regime of King Charles II. Charles II is a Roman Catholic. He started praising him. So he quickly, I mean, he made a quick shift in his political view. So Dr. Johnson excused Dryden for his constant changes in political views. He wrote that if he changed, he changed with the nation. Okay, you cannot blame him. He changed. If he changed, he changed with the nation. Now, anyway, I told you Dryden kept on changing his political views, but Dryden lost all his political privilege after he refused to swear an oath of allegiance to William III and Mary II. Very loyal to James II. Okay. Actually, it goes like this. 1603 to 1625, reign of James First, 1625 to 1641, Charles First, 1650 to 1660, Oliver Cromwell, then 1660 to 68, Charles II, from 1668 to 1688, James II. Then comes the reign of William III and Mary II. Okay. Anyway, this person kept on changing his political view. He remained loyal to. At last, he remained loyal to James II, and he was not that loyal to William III and Mary II, who were Protestants. Okay. Now, dramatic poesy is the longest work of John Dryden. Now, this work, the one we are going to discuss, Mac Fluckno, it's a satire against Thomas Shadwell another famous contemporary of John Dryden. Hmm? Now, let me ask you a question. When we started MEG, I have already told you who introduced heroic couplet in English poetry. Come on, tell me. Who introduced heroic couplet in English poetry?
Jeffrey Chaucer.
Yeah, it's Geoffrey Chaucer. Yeah, even though it is Geoffrey Chaucer who introduced heroic couplet to English poetry, it is Dryden who standardized it. Remember, it is John Dryden who made it perfect, standardized it. Okay, he applied this tradition in a range of work like satires, religious pieces, fables, epigrams, like that. He applied in all forms, all literary forms. Okay, now now getting into the work Mac Flecknoe. What's the meaning of Mac Flecknoe? The title. It's very interesting. Mac Flecknoe. Mac means sun. The meaning of the word Mac is sun. Flecknoe means, see, Richard Flecknoe is one of the Irish poets. Okay, he's one of the Irish poet. He's a poetaster, not a prominent poet, but a poetaster. Okay, poetaster means one who writes poems of inferior qualities. I hope you understood. Poetaster is the name given to a person who writes poems of inferior quality. So Mac Flecknoe means son of Richard Flecknoe. Okay, now yeah. So Mac Flecknoe is satire upon the true blue Protestant poets. Yes, Thomas Shadwell. Hmm? The complete title of the work is Mac Flecknoe, a satire upon the true blue Protestant. Yes. So it is written about 1678, published anonymously in 1682. Let me tell you, when I started this session, I have already told you that major works of the 18th century were satires, lampoons, etc. And writers were in constant literary battle against one another. Okay, they were in constant battle against one another. Mac Flecknoe means son of Flecknoe, a verse. Then it is a mock heroic satire, and it is an attack against Thomas Shadwell, a contemporary of John Dryden. And there are several reasons for writing Mac Flecknoe. There are several reasons for that. Okay, this person succeeded John Dryden, and he became the poet laureate in 1689. Actually, I told you, the poet laureate is a position given by king. Dryden was the first official poet laureate in England, but later he was replaced by Thomas Shadwell. Well, yeah, because he remained loyal to James II. When William III and Mary II came, they were Protestant, so he was removed from the position. Okay. Shadwell constantly mocked Dryden, rhymed heroic tragedies which were popular in 1660s and early 70s. Let me tell you, this person adhered to old principle, like he wrote all his works in heroic couplet, and that was an old-fashioned rant during that time. So Thomas Shadwell ridiculed him, mocked him for being so old fashioned. And there are several other reasons which we are going to discuss now. Dryden and Shadwell, they were friends still. The nation split up into two. Actually, the whole nation, it was split into two hostile camp, Whigs and Tories. I mean, those group who supported parliaments and parliament and church, they are said to be Whigs. You might have seen in English movies ancient nobles or in the court and parliament, people wearing wigs, white color wig. Hmm? Yeah. So those people who are following church parties or parliament, they are said to be Whigs. And Tories are those people who followed king and royalty. Okay, fine. So yeah, Whigs were led by Chancellor Earl of Shaftesbury. Okay, all those people who support Whigs or parliamentarian or the parliament, they were supported by, they were led by Earl of Shaftesbury. So Earl of Shaftesbury, he introduced a bill in Parliament so as to overthrow James. James II, and also they wanted to exclude his brother. mm, uh, yeah, because they were Roman Catholics. James II and Charles II were Roman Catholic. Okay, and let me tell you, this person was in exile, and he was in France for some time. From France only, he came to England, and he became the king of England. So he introduced many French mannerism, and that was a licentious period, period of loose morals. Okay, so these Protestant people couldn't digest their culture, so they want to overthrow hmm, uh, James II. Okay, James II is a Roman Catholic, not the point. So they want to prevent James II accessing the throne. Okay, Wicks wanted Protestant Duke of Monmouth, an illegitimate son of Charles II, to be the next successor. I mean, please have an idea. I mean, Tories wanted James II to be the next king. Okay, James II to be the next king, but Wicks wanted Duke of Monmouth, who is a Protestant, to be the next successor. Okay. So anyway, Dryden went over to Tories and Shadwell took the side of Whigs. Okay. Now, and that was the reason for the rivalry. No, Dryden was also a historiographer of the king. Now, so Wicks started ridiculing Dryden for supporting James II. Okay, they made his caricatures burlesque, fast. Okay, now Dryden, he answered them through in his medal and Absalom and Achitophel. Dryden also, satirized Shaftesbury, Earl of Shaftesbury, in his work Absalom and Achitophel. He also attacked Shaftesbury in his famous work Medal 1682. I'm giving you the historical background of Mac Flecknoe. Why John Dryden has written Mac Flecknoe. Okay, there are several reasons for writing Mac Flecknoe. The first and foremost reason is political. Political rivalry. This person supported Jane II, and Thomas Shadwell supported Duke of Earl of Shaftesbury, who insisted upon the upon what excluding James II from the throne. Okay, now yeah, so the medal ridiculed the triumph of Wicks. I told you medal is authored by John Dryden. They ridicule Wicks. Now, Wicks, there are also many great poets among Wicks. Thomas Shadwell was one among them, and he too uh, wrote many lampoons against John Dryden. Shadwell attacked Dryden in his famous work, The Medal of John Bayes. John Bayes, none but John Bayes is none but John Dryden. Okay, they were attacking each other. Thomas Shadwell and John Dryden were attacking each other. At first, uh, this one, uh, who? Wicks, Thomas Shadwell wrote a famous work, Bayes, in which they caricatured John Dryden. So John Dryden answered in Absalom Achitophel and in Medal. Then Thomas Shadwell wrote Medal, where he again lampooned John Dryden. John Dryden. Next publication was Mac Flecknoe, in which he lampooned Shadwell as Mac Flecknoe, son of Flecknoe. Anyway, Mac Flecknoe is one of the most severe personal satires ever written in English, and that remain anonymous. Okay, only after the death of Thomas Shadwell, uh, Dryden acknowledged that he is the author of the Mac Flecknoe. Okay, now mock epic satire. I told you this Mac Flecknoe belonged to the genre of mock epic satire. Now, what is satire? Satire is nothing but employment of sarcasm. Mm? Mock epic. Epic, we know that we'll be praising the heroic quality of the hero, using grand similes and metaphors, extended metaphors. But in mock epic, author will be comparing some silly things to some grand things. Okay, a silly writer to a grand author, that is comparing dull and grand side by side. Understood? So has to belittle the person you are targeting. The silly one will be compared to a, or the trivial thing will be compared to a grand thing. That is more epic, but it will have all the features of an epic. Hmm? Anyway, the satire was invented by Greek dramatist Aristophanes, a comedian or dramatist. He was the historical originator of this genre. Greek dramatist Aristophanes. Now, mock epic, mock heroic is also known as mock heroic form of satire in which trivial, insignificant things are mockingly related to a heroic or exalted manner. Even the trivial thing will be celebrated. Even killing of the mosquito, or doing a trivial thing, that will be celebrated in a historical manner, so has to tarnish the target. Okay. So, in English literature, John Dryden is the first person to write mock heroic epic. Okay, mock epic satire. And Mac Flecknoe is the first great mock heroic poem in English. Please note that point. Mac Flecknoe is the first great mock heroic poem in English literature. And the famous one is Alexander Pope's Rape of the Lock. It's very funny. If you have time, you may please read. Okay. Now, Now, let's see a few lines from the poem. So, Flecknoe consists of 217 lines. Anyway, let's discuss a few lines from the poem. Mac Flecknoe, son of Flecknoe. I told you, Flecknoe is none but Richard Flecknoe, an Irish poet. Irish poet taster who writes poems of inferior qualities. And the complete title of this poem is A Satire upon the True Blue Protestant Poet, T.S. Thomas Shadwell. Oh, okay. Now let us discuss. Hello, are you people there?
Yes,
Hello?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are you able to follow whatever things I have you followed whatever things I have conveyed till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, in order to study the poems in fifth block, you need to know the political backgrounds, socio-political background of the 18th century. Then only you can apply things in poem. Okay, don't merely attempt the critical summary of the poem. You should incorporate the political background. Okay, now let us discuss Macflecknoe. All human things are subject to decay, and when fate summons, monarch must obey. This Flecknoe found who, like Augustine Young, was called to empire and govern long. So let me tell you, all human beings, when time comes, they will have to obey the rule. Yeah, when time comes, one will have to give the reign to the next person, or they will die, isn't it? We are not immortals, we are mortals. We will die someday. So, Richard Flecknoe, who is a poet taster, who he has reigned the mm, realm of nonsense. He was the king. He was a king in the, I mean, yeah, the realm of nonsense. And he reigned there for a long time, just like Emperor Augustus. It is said that Emperor Augustus lived till the age of 84, just like that. Just like Emperor Augustus, I told you, dull and the great will be compared side by side. That is more heroic epic. Okay, more epic. So Richard Flecknoe, he had lived a long life and he read the kingdom of dullness just like Emperor Augustus reigned Rome. Okay, but time has come. He has to give way to the next one. In prose and verse, on without dispute through all the realms of nonsense absolute. So far, he reigned. He was a unparalleled, undisputable writer in the realm of nonsense. He was too good in writing nonsensical literature. In the realm of nonsense, he was an unparalleled writer. Who? Richard Flecknoe. Okay, this age prince now flourishing in peace. Now it's time for him to live in peace. Okay. Until then, he flourished like a Roman emperor, blessed with the issue of large increase. Anyway, Richard Flecknoe is blessed with uh, many issues. What do you mean by issues? So many progenies, so many children. Richard Flecknoe is blessed with so many children like him. I mean, so many poets who are equally or what more idiotic than Richard Flecknoe. Worn out with business at length debate to settle the succession of state. So this Richard Flecknoe is in search of his next successor. His successor. His time is nearing. So he's in search of the next king. So he's going through his children one by one because he has to find the next successor, right? Now, and pondering which of all his son was fit to reign, wage a mortal war with wit. Okay, so our Flecknoe is in a great puzzle. He was thinking, hmm, whom should I select as the next king of this nonsensical realm? The particular person has to wage an immortal war against wit. Wit is intelligence, isn't it? Wit is intelligence. So the particular person who has to be the next king to the throne of nonsense, he should be a perfect dullard. He should be an idiot, a perfect idiot. Then only he'll become eligible to the throne. Okay. So cried it resolved for the nature played that he should only rule for the most resemble me, Shadwell alone my perfect image bears. So one who hmm, uh, becomes the king, he should hmm, wage immortal war, and he should be the exact replica of his father. The king, the next king, should be the exact replica of the Richard Flecknoe. So at last he found and he cried aloud. The problem is resolved. Who is that person? He's none other than Thomas Shadwell, because only Thomas Shadwell bears the I mean all those qualities. He is the perfect replica of his father, Richard Flecknoe, mature in dullness from his tender years. See, this person has shown dullness from his tender years onwards. Okay, from childhood onwards, he has shown dullness. Just like in epic poetry and in a great verse or about scientists or about those great writers, he'll say that child has shown greatness in tender years. Instead of that, the poet says that the particular person has exhibited dullness from his tender years. Shadwell alone of all my son is he who stands confirmed in all stupidity. 1 second. Yeah. So Shadwell is the only son uh, who, I mean, who stood without showing any deviation from stupidity. Is the perfect one who follows his father and who has every trait of stupidity. Rest are for namesake. Okay, there are many poets. Actually, Richard Flecknoe is blessed with so many uh, offsprings issues. So many poets who are equally who are has the lad has him. Okay, but only Shadwell confirm stupidity in every aspects. He had never deviated from the path of nonsense. You understood here? The particular person has never deviated from the path of nonsense. Rest to some pain meaning make pretense, but Shadwell never deviate into sense. That means rest of the idiotic poets, the dullards, are idiots or fools for namesake. Mm. Some beams of wit on other souls may fall, strike through and make lucid intervals, but Shadwell's genuine night admits no ray. His folk his rising folks prevail upon the day. So let me tell you, in the case of other poets, in the case of other foolish poets or poetasters, sometimes accidentally some ray it is possible that some ray of intelligence may pass through them. In the case of other poetasters, it is possible that ray of intelligence may pass through them. But in the case of Thomas Shadwell, it is impossible. Hmm? He won't let any he won't let any ray of intelligence to pass through his brain. Okay, because he is protected by fog. So you might have seen in see what pictures of deities or god or goddesses. You can see aurora at their back, isn't it? Aurora, a holy ring at the back of saints, god and goddesses. In the case of Thomas Shadwell, it is a fog. It's a thick fog, mm? And it admits no ray. Beside his goodly fabrics fills eyes and seem designed, thoughtless, majesty. So, okay, this person is a perfect dullard. He's praising the quality. Actually, in these lines, John Dryden is praising the quality of Thomas Shadwell, but in a negative way. One second. Yeah, thoughtless as monarch oaks, the shade that shade the plain and spread in solemn state, supinely green, Haywood and Shirley were but the types of thee, thou last great prophet of tautology. So let me tell you, he is extending like a tree. Hmm? His kingdom will extend. Who? Thomas Shadwell is just like a great tree, hmm, which will extend. I mean, great tree of nonsense. This person is a great tree of nonsense. He's extending his branches, and he will protect. He will lead the other idiotic poets. Haywood and Shirley. Let me tell you how Haywood and Shirley are characters created by Thomas Shadwell, and Dryden says that they are nothing but exact replica of the author. Hmm? It is Thomas Shadwell who created Haywood and Shirley, and they are nothing but a perfect replica of the author. Though last prophet of tautology. Let me tell you, every religion has got a prophet, isn't it? So, who is the last prophet of Christianity? Class, who's the last prophet of Christianity? It's Jesus Christ, right? Now, who's the last prophet in Buddhism? Gautama Buddha. Now, what about Jain? Hmm? It's Mahavira. So, in every religion or in every philosophy, the last prophet will be the greatest one, isn't it? Similarly, thou last great prophet of tautology, the last will be the greatest one. It's like that. Jesus Christ, Gautama Buddha, Mahavira, they are the I mean the last one in the respective idea. Philosophies, and yeah. So this person, Thomas Shadwell, is the last prophet of tautology. Tautology means reputation of nonsense. Reputation of nonsense. That is tautology. Okay. Even I, Athens, more renowned than they, was sent before but to prepare thy way. So, even I, his father says that, Richard Flecknoe, who is in search of a perfect successor, he says that, even I am a fool. Even I am. Nothing before you. I'm a fool. I'm a renowned fool. I'm a very famous fool in this realm. Okay, I'm a famous dullard in this realm of nonsensical literature. But I was only a namesake when compared to thy quality. I was just sent to I was sent to earth to prepare way for thee. Richard Flecknoe says that I was sent to, according to Dryden, Richard Flecknoe was sent to earth so has to prepare way for John Dryden, sorry, Thomas Shadwell. And there is a comparison. See, I hope you know John the Baptist. John the Baptist in Bible. John the Baptist was sent to earth so has to prepare way for Jesus Christ. isn't it? Just like John the Baptist was sent to earth to prepare way for Jesus Christ, Richard Flecknoe was sent to earth so as to prepare way for Thomas Shadwell. See, so we have discussed the first 60 lines of Mac Flecknoe. Now, so I hope you got the idea of the how to read rest of the poem. Hmm? I told you dullness or dullard or the silliness will be compared to greatness side by side. So overview of the poem. Let's discuss the poem. So yeah, poem is an elaborate satirical fancy where Dryden imagines coronation of a new monarch to the rule over the realm of poetical nonsense. So this poem, Mac Flecknoe, is the coronation of Thomas Shadwell. Coronation of Thomas Shadwell to the kingdom of nonsense. Richard Flecknoe is an Irish poet taster. He was considered the ruler of kingdom called nonsense. Hmm? King of all poet tasters. He's the king of all foolish poets. Hmm? One day he decides to abdicate his throne. It has time has come. He has to find the next successor. Hmm? All of his son, he chooses Thomas Shadwell because he is the only one who resembles him in all aspects. Now, yeah, let's see the summary of this poem. His choice of Shadwell, on account of his many qualities. See, I told you why he has been selected, isn't it? He has exhibited dullness from his very young, tender age onwards. Now, this person has a bulk body, but see, this person actually, Thomas Shadwell was so fond of Ben Jonson. Actually, Ben Jonson is a very famous dramatist, but John Dryden says that he has only similarity in the bulkness. Actually, Ben Jonson is such a great author. His bulkness represents his dullness. Now, and in the coming lines, you can see that Dryden again satirizes Thomas Shadwell, because this person happened to give a musical performance in Charles II barge boat. See, so many, school of fish were attracted to the boat, not to hear the musical performance of the Thomas Shadwell, but to eat. I mean, morsels that have thrown from the barge. And Richard Flecknoe also has given a performance like Thomas Shadwell, and that was only an introduction to Thomas Shadwell's, nonsensical musical performance. Okay, now moving on to from line number 63, we are just going to discuss the coronation ceremony of Thomas Shadwell. So Richard Flecknoe selected nursery in London. Nursery. See, this place is pretty famous for um, rush actors. Inept actors and actresses. Okay, so it is nursery in London. Actually, stage the dull performance of inept actors and actresses. Okay, so Thomas Shadwell's coronation ceremony is going to be held in that nursery. Just like, see, it is a what notoriously. The place is notoriously famous for these kind of people. Okay, so city poet Thomas Dekker. Thomas Dekker is an Elizabethan dramatist. So according to Dryden, Thomas Dekker long ago has prophesied that after so many years there will come a great nonsensical king in this place who will wage a perpetual war against sense. Long ago. Okay. Now, from, yeah. So they have selected nursery in London as the play venue for Thomas Shadwell's coronation ceremony. Okay. Now, line number 87 to 33 discusses the coronation of Thomas Shadwell. Now, yeah. So, hearing the coronation ceremony of Thomas Shadwell, so many dullards, so many poetasters from here and there came to attend. Hmm? Yeah, the ceremony. See, uh, s- whatever. I mean, if there is a celebration or something like that happens in West, obviously the path will be covered with red carpet, isn't it? Red carpet. I mean, ceremonies will be decorated with well carpet, all the way, isn't it? So the way to throne of dullness was covered with mutilated works. Instead of using red carpet, they have covered the path with the books written by Thomas Shadwell. Okay, because this Thomas Shadwell has has got so many unsold books. It's according to Dryden, most of his books were unsold. So people decorated the path with the unsold books of Thomas Shadwell. Okay, because this person cheated so many booksellers and publishers. And now his throne was made of his own books. Okay, not only Thomas Shadwell's Flecknoe's throne. I mean, Flecknoe's chair was also made of his own books. Okay, so Crown Prince Thomas Shadwell, uh, seated on the right hand of Flecknoe, took solemn oath of waging lifelong war against sin. So this person has been coronated. He has been crowned. Now he's going to take the oath. Okay, oath that he will wage immortal war against wit. So the old king Richard Flecknoe is performing that anointing ceremony. He's performing that ceremony. So he's holding a mug of wine in his left hand and a drama. See, normally when we take oath, we will take oath on holy books, isn't it? Upon holy books, Bible, Gita, or Quran, like something like that. But when he became the king, he has taken oath upon a, a book written by Richard Flecknoe, that is Love Kingdom. Love Kingdom is a dull work by Richard Flecknoe. So, as soon as he was enthroned, this person took an oath that he will wage an immortal war against wit upon that Love Kingdom. See, usually we'll be holding some holy water, then scepter, power of I mean, symbol of power. Instead of that, Richard Flecknoe was holding a mug of wine. We know what will happen if we drink wine. The crown prince head was then covered by chaplet of poppies. Instead of a crown that is made of gold or gems, this person was crowned with poppy leaves, poppy. I hope you know it is from poppy's seeds that opium is made. So opium induces dullness and rosiness. I told you this is a mock epic, so this person is making has been belittled by John Dryden. So I told you after Thomas Shadwell was crowned, and he is wearing a crown made of poppy flowers. Poppy flower induces dullness and rosiness to his brain. Okay. So then in coming lines, you can see that as soon as he was crowned, people saw 12 owls, 12 owls. I mean, that is a symbol from God that this person has been selected by God hmm, as the king to the throne of nonsense. So there is yet another funny comparison because Rome was according in Virgil's Aeneid, Rome was found by Aeneid. Okay, but in legendary Rome was found by legendary Rome was found by twin brothers named Romulus and Remus. Okay, so Rome, it's a city constructed in the middle of seven hills. So after founding that kingdom, uh, there was a battle. There was between two brothers. So soon, God sent 12 owls, 12 owls to them, and they appeared by the side of Romulus, and Romulus was taken as the next king of was decided to be the king of Rome. That's how the name Rome came. Okay. Similarly, God has sent 12 owls, hmm, so has to that was taken as the approval from God, to take to make this person as the king of the realm of nonsense. Okay. Now, after becoming the king, father is giving so many advices to his son. Okay, so line from 134 to 204. Father invoked God's blessing on the son and visualized bright future for him in a prophetic mood in these terms. So we have seen the coronation ceremony of Thomas Shadwell. Now we are going to discuss advices given by Richard Flecknoe to his nonsensical son, that is Thomas Shadwell. So he says that he has to maintain his ignorance and impudence. Let that grow day by day. Dullness and impudence may grow in him day by day, and he may produce many dull works than his father. Richard Flecknoe is giving all his blessings to his son. Okay, so then he says that mm, all his characters, fools and forbes in his works, uh, they are nothing but they are the exact replica of let the characters of Thomas Shadwell's works be the exact replica of the particular person. Okay, and he also advises Thomas Shadwell that he should not seek external inspiration from great writers. There are many great writers: Ben Jonson, John Milton, Shakespeare. Many great writers are there. You should not seek them. You should not look upon them as a model, because you have many. Why are you looking upon them as model? You have to trust your brain, and you have to write in your own bombastic nonsense, in your own bombastic style. Spare Ben Jonson and other great writers. You have many dullard writers in your own family, like me. That is Richard Flecknoe. You have to model upon your father, hmm, and your siblings, not upon the great writers Ben Jonson. They are simply tempting you. Great writers like Ben Jonson, Shakespeare, John Milton, they will tempt you. They will sometimes they may tempt you like Satan, but you should not be deviated. So again he ridicules Thomas Shadwell that this person has got a very formidable physique, a big, huge physique, just like Ben Jonson, but his intellectual is very poor. Ben Jonson, even though he's very huge, his brain is also like that. But in your case, it's exactly opposite. So there is nothing common between you and Ben Jonson. So you should not model Ben Jonson. So there is a point in comparing him with Ben Jonson, because Thomas Shadwell model Ben Jonson. He was so fond of Ben Jonson and his style. That is why John Dryden is satirizing or ridiculing or comparing Thomas Shadwell and Ben Jonson in a comical way. Okay, so this person, again, Richard Flecknoe continues that the Thomas Shadwell has written so many satires and comedy, so many tragedies and comedies, but his tragedies, actually, his tragedies were more or less like comedy, and his satires were truly ineffective. Okay, now, so he says that he never dare to attempt in any epic works, attempt any epic works or tragedies or comedies. You may please try acrostic, some wordplay. Now, from line number 205 to after giving sound advice to his son, you should not deviate from your path of nonsense. You should not model great writers. After that, after blessing, after giving all the instructions and blessing to his son, Thomas Shadwell, literary son, okay, Thomas Shadwell. he disappears. That is, some trapdoor has been opened from below, so that he has fallen into that trapdoor, just like Elijah, a biblical character. Elijah went into heaven, and his coat, his dress, mantle. That means his clothes has fell. I mean, has fallen upon his son. Has a blessing that you are going to be the next successor. You are going to resemble me, or you are going to rule the mm, realm just like me. Similarly, our Thomas Shadwell also he is also going to rule the realm just like his father Richard Flecknoe has ruled. But after blessing his son, he fell into a trapdoor. Hmm? He has fallen into that. But when he has fallen, his coat, his mantle fell upon Thomas Shadwell. Thus, he became a perfect dullard. That's the story of, gist of Mac Flecknoe. Hello, have you got an outline of Mac Flecknoe
Yes,
class?
ma'am.
Okay. Now, theme of the poem I have told you, it's satire. Hmm? You can see a rivalry just because not only the political issues but also some personal reason. I told you this person has succeeded. Thomas Shadwell has succeeded John Dryden, and he became the next poet laureate. So you must learn to write this poem as a discuss Mac Flecknoe as a mock epic poem, mock heroic epic. So you must, first of all, you must write the features of mock epic poem. I told you what a mock epic poem is, so you must relate it with that. Okay. Now moving on to Alexander Pope. hmm, Alexander's feast, or power of music, authored by John Dryden, penned in 1697. It's a note by John Dryden. It's very easy. Hmm? It was written to celebrate Saint Cecilia's Day. Okay, Saint Cecilia is the first martyr, Christian martyr, and she is believed to be the inventor of musical organ. Organ. She is believed to be the inventor of organ. Okay, so Alexander Feast is a dramatic work where the poet, not the poet, the bard, bard Timotheus manipulates the feeling of King Alexander. Just a second. King Alexander. Okay, so we can see different types of feelings flashing in in moments. Okay, the main body of the poem describes the feast given by Alexander Great at the Persian capital Persepolis after defeating Darius. Okay, this poem mainly features um, Alexander the Great accessing the throne after defeating Persian king Darius. So his bard, that means court poet, is name of the court poet is Timotheus. After the victory over Persia or over Persepolis, Timotheus is praising Alexander, and he is able to manipulate. He is able to influence Alexandra. That is why the power of music. Alexander's Feast or the Power of Music by John Dryden. Now, Alexander's Feast or the Power of Music. Let's discuss a few lines from Alexander's Feast. It was at the royal feast for Persia, won by Philip's warlike son. So Philip's Philip is the father of Alexander, but in history, not in history, but according to mythology, Alexander is the son of Zeus, isn't it? Alexander is the son of Zeus, but as per the history, he is the son of Philip. It was the royal feast for Persia one.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
just a second. Alexander was Philip was the father of Alexander
yeah,
as
yeah,
a history.
yeah. As per history,
And
mythology.
yeah,
According to mythology, myth says that he's a demigod.
okay.
He is the son of Zeus.
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 Okay. According to
Mythology,
the mythology.
mythology. Yeah, according
Okay,
to
ma'am.
mythology. But his biological father is Philip. Okay, Philip.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, but not historian, but people believe that. People believe that this person is a son of Zeus. Okay, fine. It was at the royal feast for Persia one by Philip's warlike son. Philip warlike son is Alexander. After winning war against Darius, king of Persia, Alexander's son. Aloft in the awful state, the godlike hero sat on his imperial throne. So, Alexander the Great, godlike hero, is a demigod. People consider him a demigod. The demigod has enthroned. His valiant peers were placed around. So his great friends were also sitting with him. Their brows with roses and myrtles brown. That means they have won the battle, so they are about to celebrate. They are celebrating the victory. So not only Alexander, all his other valiant friends are also sitting um, beside him. The lovely Thais by his side. Thais is the mistress of Alexander. Okay, Thais is the mistress of Alexander. Next to Alexander, Thais is also sitting, sat like a blooming Eastern bride. Hmm? So she sits next to Alexander just like an Eastern beauty. Hmm? In a flower of youth and beauty pride. Happy, happy pair. None but brave, none but brave, none but brave. Okay, so in the first stanza, uh, Alexander, so not Alexander, sorry, John Dryden, it is praising the victory of Alexander over Persian king Percy Polus. Okay, okay, first stanza we have seen. Now, in second stanza, Timotheus placed on its page number 109. Timotheus placed on the high amid tuneful choir with flying finger touched the lyre. So I told you in first stanza they are about to celebrate. In second stanza, Bart Timotheus accompanies the event with a musical performance. He begins the song that glorifies Alexander and inflates the monarch's sense of pride. Then he started to praise Alexander and his deeds. So this person has become very proud. Okay, see, the entire poem is about the power of music. Alexander is a very powerful king, but John Dryden says that music or words is even more powerful than Alexander or him. Okay. So Timotheus, according to Alexander, his bard Timotheus is even more powerful than Alexander because he's able to manipulate his feelings. Okay, you understood why the title, the power of music, subtitle, power of music. Now the third stanza with yeah, 1 second. The praise of Bacchus, then sweet musician sung of Bacchus ever fair and ever young, the jolly god in triumph comes. So in the third stanza, after praising Alexander in the second stanza about his no courageous deeds, in third stanza, Bard Timotheus invokes Bacchus. Bacchus is the son of Zeus. I told you, born to an earthly woman, a bull-headed god. A bull-headed god. He is believed as the god of wine, sex, marriage, okay, etc. Madness. They are invoking Bacchus whenever there is a celebration, any performance. Obviously, we will invoke Bacchus because he is a god of art form, all sort of art forms that can influence human beings. There are two type of art forms, one that can influence human beings and one that can lead them, yeah, that is Apollonian and Dionysian quality. Apollo, I mean, those people who are following Apollo, for example, art forms which has got a perfect outline or a what I mean perfect rules, rhythm, etc. are Apollonian traits. But those art forms which can influence human beings, mentally, physically, etc., are Dionysian cult, isn't it? Jazz music, drum, sound of drum, dance, etc., are Dionysian art forms. But those kind of arts, sculpture, painting, etc., are Apollonian because it has got some rules. Yeah. So in third stanza, mm, Bard, the poet, is invoking Bacchus, and he is encourages. He is asking Alexander to take some wine. Okay, stanza one. They are about to celebrate. He's celebrating. He introduces Alexander, hmm, then introduces his mistress, then his noble contemporaries. In second stanza, he praises him and glorifies his position, and that makes Alexander very proud. In stanza 3, he's asking Alexander to take some wine. In stanza 4, soothed with sound like a sound, the king grew vain, fought all his battle over gain. And thrice he rooted all his foods, and thrice he slew the slain. The master saw the madness rise, his glowing cheeks and ardent eyes, and while heaven and earth defied, chain his hand and shake his pride. So in stanza 4, after taking Alexander up to the sky, he suddenly changes the tune hmm, to a sad one and sings about the dead king, dead Persian king Darius. He knows that now Alexander is very proud of himself. Timotheus understood that after praising him, this person, Alexander, has reached sky high. Now he is so proud of himself. So when he understood that, he slightly changes his tune and he started to, I mean, he started to discuss about the dead Persian king. Okay. Now, stanza 5. Mighty master smiled to see that love was in the next degree. It was but a kindred soul to move. For pity melts the mind to love. Softly sweet in Lydian measures. Soon he soothed his soul to pleasure. War he sung, its toil and trouble. So in this stanza, after discussing about war and its after effect, in stanza 4, he made a slight shift from, praising Alexander to the depth of Darius. Then in stanza 5, he discusses about the after effects of war, how people had killed in the war. Then he praises the beauty of Thais, mistress of Alexander. Okay, so he instructs him that he should be grateful for her relationship with her. Now, in stanza 6, now strikes the golden lyre again, a louder yet a louder strain. Break his bands of sleep asunder and rouse him like a rattling peal of thunder. Hark, hark, the horrid sound has raised up his head, has awaked from dead. And amazed he stares around. Revenge, revenge, Timotheus cries. So 5 and 6, in stanza 5 and 6, in stanza 4 and 5, Alexander has become bit emotional. In first three stanza, Alexander is feeling very proud of his what qualities. He's feeling very proud. In 4 and 5, when he become very proud, this person has managed to uh, look upon himself. Timotheus made Alexander to look upon himself, or the after effects of the he made Alexander to look upon the after effects of the war. So Alexander became bit emotional. He became very sad. So in stanza 6, Timotheus understood that that is not quite worthy. King, or if the what will happen to the people, to his subjects, to or his followers, if the emperor becomes too much emotional. So he switches hmm, the tune. Timotheus again sings about revenge. Okay, revenge. He says that Persian people have previously people have killed his ancestors. The atrocities done by Persians and Turks to, uh, I mean, citizens and to his countrymen. So he's asking Alexander to be vengeful. Hmm? Okay. Then in stanza 7, 1 second. Thus long ago, here heavy bellows learned to blow, while organs yet were mute. Timotheus to his breathing flute, sounding lyre, could swell the soul of soul to rage of kindle soft desire. At last, divine Cecilia came. Yeah, the last stanza. In the last stanza, is asking. The point closes as the speaker compares Timotheus to Catholic martyr Cecilia. So in stanza 7, there is a slight change where John Dryden interferes. He takes the role, and he interferes and he compares the bard Timotheus to that of Cecilia, Catholic martyr Cecilia. Because see, Timotheus is a ordinary mortal. He's a mortal. He's a human being. Hmm? But he was able to take Alexander, who was also a human being, to sky high. Hmm? He has elevated the position of Alexander to sky high, just like Christian martyr, Catholic martyr, Saint Cecilia, was believed to be the inventor of vocal organ. Okay, who was believed to be the inventor of organ. She was able to draw. He was able to draw an angel down to earth. See the comparison. Now have you understood why the subtitle "Power of Music" is given? Power of music. This poem was written on the day of Cecilia's. Yeah, the day of Saint Cecilia. Okay, she was believed to be the goddess of music just because she is the inventor of organ. So here, John Dryden compares Cecilia, Timotheus to Cecilia. Cecilia is the first Christian martyr or the first Catholic martyr. Okay, she was such an awesome musician. She was able to draw. She was able to bring an angel to earth. Okay, just like that, Timotheus was able to raise Alexander to sky. See, you might have, there are 7 stanzas and one grand chorus in this poem. So you might have seen different feelings that King Alexander has gone through, isn't it? Alexander has gone through different feelings. You can see different shades of emotion in Alexander. At first, he is very happy, sitting happily on his throne next to Thais, surrounded by his brave soldiers. Next line, in next stanza, he is feeling very proud, hmm, somewhat raving. A man, he's in a euphoric state. Next stanza, he become very emotional, hmm, then very sad when he thought about the after effect of the war. Then Timotheus understood it is not that worthy for a king to become that much emotional. So he switches the music and again makes Alexander very ferocious and vengeful. So Timotheus was able to manipulate the feelings of Alexander. So who is more powerful? Alexander or Timotheus? Who's more powerful? Poet or the king? Musician or the king? It is the musician because he is able to manipulate the feeling. He is able to control Alexander. So when he manipulates and make him vengeful, what happened? Alexander, along with Thais, went and set fire to entire Persian city. They destroyed the Persian city. Okay, that's a summary of Alexander Feast of the Power of Music. Now, the next poem, Alexander Pope, 1688. Sorry. Next poem is Epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. I'm not feeling well. I'm running on high fever. Hello. Alexander Pope's next poem is Epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. Uh, so I told you 1700 to 1745 is Alexander's period. He's one of the greatest poet of 18th century. He's the most quoted writer after Shakespeare. We know that most quoted writer is Shakespeare. After Shakespeare, he's the most quoted one. He's best known for his epigrams. This person is just like Dryden. He is also best known for satires. Okay, the Rape of the Lock is the most famous mock epic in English literature. He also translated. See, Dryden has translated Virgil and Virgil, and this person has translated Homer and Horace. He's considered to be a master in heroic couplet, just like Dryden. Hmm? Now, uh, see this person like Dryden, he was also very active in politics. And he's very short. He is only 4 feet. Yeah, 4 feet 5. He's a very short person, not that healthy. He had many health issues. Mm? But he was a genius. Okay. Now he belonged to the literary club, Scribblers Club. I told you 18th century witnessed many literary clubs, Scribblers Club, Spectators Club, like that. It is in that club these poets joined and discussed about the political issues, and that formed the subject of their writings. So in the Scribblers Club, John Gay, John Nathan Swift, John Arbuthnot, Thomas Parner, William Congreve were the other writers. He was also a member of that. He translated the works of Homer. Uh, yeah, that is, yeah, he has translated Iliad and Odyssey. Now, his residency's name is Twickenham. Twickenham is the Pope's residence name. Now let's discuss about Epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. It was completed in 1734 and published in 1735. The poem is written as a bill of complaint to John Arbuthnot. I told you this poem, even though it is a satire, the poem is a satire, harsh satire against. Actually, unlike Mac Flecknoe, which is targeted to against a single person, that is Thomas Shadwell, Epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot actually ridicules many poetasters and many poetasters and contemporaries of Alexander Pope. It is written in the form of a complaint, a bill of complaint addressing to John Arbuthnot. John Arbuthnot is none but friend of Alexander Pope, and he is also the what? Um, I mean, physician of okay, Queen of England. At that time, he was the official physician of Queen of England. So in this work, the popular one, and I told you in this work he ridicules many personalities, and the famous ones are Lady Waterley Montague, Joseph Addison, and Lord Harvey. Let me tell you, William Harvey. Lord Harvey, Lady Waterley Montague, and Joseph Edison. They were the prominent contemporaries of Alexander Pope. Actually, Lady Mary Waterley Montague and Alexander Pope were friends. They were thick friends. Mary Waterley Montague and Alexander Pope were thick friends. After that, after some time, this Alexander Pope fell in love with very Waterly Montague, hmm, but she declined his love and she joined Lord Harvey. She married Lord Harvey. So Pope became very vengeful, hmm, and this lady Waterly Montague and Lord Harvey, they they satirized Alexander Pope in the famous work, hmm, An Epistle to Doctor of Divinity from the Nobleman at Hampton Court. Okay, they ridiculed him. That is the reason why Alexander Pope has criticized them severely in Epistle to Arbuthnot. So Pope wrote this poem in imitation of the Roman poet Horace. I told you, poet of the 18th century, they model classical writers. So this poem is written, um by imitating the Roman poet Horace. Okay, now, and the epistle is divided into seven part. Epistle means letter, a letter. And before getting into the poem, there is a short text. There's an advertisement, introduction to this. There is an introduction before this poem. That is, in the introduction, he says that this poem is actually a bill of complaint. He has written this poem many years ago and kept on writing. Actually, he hadn't had any intention to publish this poem until some vicious and malicious personalities like Lord Harvey and Lady Waterley Montague forced him to publish it. He would have spared them. See, he would have spared Lady Waterley Montague and Lord Harvey if they had only ridiculed Alexander Pope, but they haven't even spared his parents and his dear ones. Since they have ridiculed his dear ones, now he is in no position to spare them. That is the reason why this person has severely criticized Lady Waterley Montague and Lord William Harvey in this poem. So that is the very uh, background of epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. I repeat, this is a bill of complaint. This is a complaint. Also, you can see in some places you can see self appreciation. Yeah, Alexander Pope is so fond of himself, so he appreciates himself in several parts of the poetry. You can see notes of self appreciation. An epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. Now let's discuss a few lines from an epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. Shut, shut the door, good John. Fatigue, I said. Shut, shut. Good John. John is a servant of, Alexander Pope. So Pope is asking, please shut the door. Pope said, tie up the knocker, say, I am sick, I am dead. So he is asking, he's saying to his servant that please shut the door, and whoever knocks the door, tell them that he is sick, and even you can say I am dead. Rockstar rages, nay, it passed her doubt. All bedlam or Parnas is let out. So, uh, in Kerala, we have a typical month, isn't it? During October, November, yeah, during October, August, all dogs that are roaming here and they go mad. Similarly, Pope is asking, is this the season of dog star? Because all Bedlam and Parnassus are mental asylums in England. So he's asking his servant, hmm, what season is this? Is it a mad dog season? Because all poetasters, all madmen in Bedlam and Parnassus have let loose their inmates, because all madmen are rushing to Pope House. Fire in each eye, papers in each hand. They rave, reside, and madden round round the land. I mean, all those mad people are come rushing to the Pope's house, holding paper and pen. I told you that 18th century writers are men of letters. They are learned men. their write-up are not that easy, or common people are not able to follow them. Hmm? They use bombastic language and all. Even though they are learned men, they dependent upon powerful patrons. They need some patron or great personalities who has to support them, to provide them finance. So nowadays also we make some great writers to write the blurb of the book, isn't it? We approach great writers or even more flourished writers, hmm, to make to prepare the blurb of our book or preface to our book, isn't it? Similarly, many poetasters or those aspiring budding writers, they are rushing to Pope so as to make him write an introduction or a blurb or a preface to their books. Okay, that is why they are rushing to his house. According to Pope, they are not writers, they are not poets, they are madmen, hmm, running from Bedlam and Parnassus. So Pope is sick of those writers. He's asking his servant, come on, lock up that door and tell them that I'm dead. What walls can guard me? What shades can hide? So Pope is asking to himself, no walls can guard me, or no shades can hide him. They pierced my thickets, through my grot they glide. So he says that actually Pope's resident is pretty popular. Was very famous for his uh, for the, I mean, magnificent construction. Okay, so he says that even such a bungalow cannot guard him. These people are even stronger than that. They will pierce the wall. They will come through underground tunnel. Even if he is going in a boat, they will jump into the boat. They stop the chariot. They board the boat. Okay, no place is sacred. No, the church is free. He cannot go. He can't go anywhere. Hmm? Because wherever he goes, all the poetasters, all those aspiring poets follows. I mean, they follow him. He's not free even at church. Even if he's going to church to pray, they will follow him. So he can't even observe Sunday as a Sabbath day. Okay, then from the min walks for the man of rhyme. I mean, I mean, there are many people who keeps on chanting some rhyme. Hmm? Madmen. Okay, even they are so happy to follow him. And there are particular type of person, they will only visit him at dinner time. Why they are visiting him there? So according to Pope, some people are approaching him not to release their books, to get some meal, to get some food. That is why they are coming at the time of dinner, so that Pope will invite them to dine with him. Actually, unlike John Dryden, this person is even more what uh, he has used more pungent sarcasm than John Dryden. Very cruel. Is there a person much bemused in beer? Then another priest. There is a poet who was a priest, and he is so is an alcoholic poet. Okay, a maudlin poetess, and there is a sentimental poetess. Another rhyming peer, and there is another person who is so fond of writing rhyming couplets. Different types of people. Okay, a sentimental poetess, an alcoholic poet. Hmm? Then a person who has the habit of writing, or he is suffering from a sickness, because sickness of writing rhyming poems, rhyming couplets. And there is another person, a clerk for whom his father sold to crows, who pens a stanza when he should engross. So there is another person, he's a clerk. Yeah, he writes poem against his father's wish. So many people like that types of people, different types of people are coming to him every day. Is there who locked from ink and paper scrawls? So he's asking, is there anyone to lock them up? Is it possible for anyone to keep them away from ink and paper? These people are coming to him to show their poetry, to show their poems, collection of poem, and so that Pope will check and correct, and will make some mandatory changes in the poem. Okay, that is why these poets are approaching him. So he's asking, is there anyone to help me? Can anyone lock them up, or can lock can keep ink and paper away from them with a spray charcoal round his darkened walls. So he says that he answers the question: if someone keeps ink and paper away from them, then they will use charcoal, and using the charcoal they will write poetry on the walls. So nothing can prevent them from writing poetry. Nowadays, it's spreading like an epidemic. Okay, according to Pope, writing poetry is an epidemic. Hmm? Anyone can write poetry. Everyone is writing poetry. Even the man in the asylum is writing poetry. Even if they are kept away from ink and paper, they will still use charcoal and write on walls. So all fly to Twickenham in humble strain. So why all these men are flying to my residence, coming to my residence, that is Twickenham, apply to me to keep them mad or vain. Hmm? So all are coming and approaching me. Arthur, whose guilty son neglects the law, imputes me and my damned work the cause. Arthur is a very famous lawyer whose giddy son, whose idiotic son. Actually, Arthur wants his son to become a lawyer, but his son doesn't want to become a lawyer. Instead, he want to write he want to become a poet. So Arthur is cursing poet for this. Okay, uh, cursing Pope for this. Actually, it's a kind of self praise. People want to model him. People wants to. People want to become like him. His son want to become like him. That is why Arthur is cursing. Poor Corner sees his frantic wife elope and curses wit and poetry for Pope. Now, another person, Cornus. Cornus, his wife, has eloped with another person, has ran away with, has run away with another person. Uh, so, Cornus is blaming Pope for that. His wife has eloped with another person just because she happened to read the poetry of Pope. He curses the wit and poetry. She became that much clever and shrewd only after reading Pope's poetry. That is why Pope has been criticized by Cornus. So indirectly, he's praising himself. If you read this poem, you will understand that rather than using direct appreciation, self appreciation, he's indirectly praising. See, another person's son has modeled him. Just because he is a very flourished poet, that is why he wants to become a poet like him.